The Evil Cook's Secret and the Magic Rose. Elara loved the smell of fresh bread, but she hated the heavy silence in the castle kitchen. Cook Agatha ruled with an iron spoon and a very cold stare. Everyone was terrified of her. While the other helpers rushed home at sunset, Elara had to stay behind to scrub the massive copper pots. It was near midnight when the kitchen finally grew quiet. Elara wiped her forehead, ready to sleep on her small cot. But then she saw a strange purple light flickering under the pantry door. Agatha never allowed anyone inside that pantry. She always kept the heavy iron key tied to her belt. Elara crept closer, her worn boots making no sound on the stone floor. The door was slightly open. She peeked inside and gasped. The pantry was not filled with flour or potatoes. In the center of the dark room, a single, glowing red rose was floating inside a tall, crystal jar. Elara reached out, her fingers almost touching the warm glass. Suddenly, a gentle voice echoed in her mind. It was not scary, just very sad. The voice belonged to Julian, a prince who was cursed by Agatha years ago. The cook had trapped him here to steal his royal magic for her own dark recipes.
You are safe now.
Before Julian could tell her how to break the spell, heavy footsteps echoed in the stone hallway outside. It was Agatha. Elara panicked. She whispered a quick promise to the rose, slipped out of the pantry, and quietly pulled the heavy wooden door shut, just as the cook's shadow appeared on the wall. The next morning, the kitchen was busy again. Elara could not stop thinking about the cursed prince. She accidentally dropped a bag of flour, creating a massive white cloud. Barnaby the baker just laughed warmly. He handed her a broom and told her a local legend about a silver teardrop that could shatter any dark glass.
And just like that, the dough remembers its soul.
Barnaby explained that the silver teardrop could only be found at the old wishing well in the courtyard, just as the midnight moon touched the water. Elara knew she had to be brave. When everyone was asleep, she sneaked out into the cool night air, hoping the legend was true. As the moonlight hit the exact center of the water, a single drop floated upward. It did not fall back down. Instead, it froze into a tiny, solid crystal that glowed with a pure silver light. Elara carefully caught the teardrop, feeling a strange, calming warmth in her hand. With the magic crystal safely in her hand, Elara hurried back inside. She had to reach the pantry before Agatha started her dark midnight baking. The hallway was completely silent, but every shadow felt like it was watching her. She just needed to get past the heavy wooden door. Elara pushed the heavy door open and rushed toward the table. The cursed rose was glowing weaker now, its golden light fading into a dull red. She raised the silver teardrop, hoping Barnaby's legend was true. But before she could touch the crystal jar, a cold and terrifying voice echoed from the dark corner of the room. Agatha stepped out of the shadows, her eyes locked on the glowing crystal. She demanded that Elara hand over the teardrop at once. The wicked cook explained that the prince's magic was the secret ingredient to her famous recipes. Without him, she would lose all her power and prestige in the royal kitchen. For the first time in her life, Elara did not back down. She looked at the fading rose and felt the young prince's sadness in her own heart. Ignoring Agatha's furious shouts, Elara turned her back to the cook and firmly pressed the glowing silver teardrop against the thick glass of the cursed jar. The thick glass exploded into a shower of harmless, glowing dust. A powerful wave of warm, golden magic swept through the tiny room, knocking Agatha backward. The wicked cook dropped her wooden spoon in shock. As the magic swirled, the wilting red rose began to grow and change shape. When the light finally faded, a young man stood in the center of the pantry. Prince Julian looked at his hands, barely believing he was human again. He wore a simple linen tunic with royal blue stitching. Agatha let out a defeated cry and ran away, her dark magic completely broken. Julian took a gentle step forward and bowed gracefully to the clumsy kitchen helper. He thanked Elara for her incredible bravery and kindness. For the very first time, Elara did not feel tired or afraid in the castle. She felt like she had finally accomplished something truly magical, right here in the ordinary kitchen. The next morning, the bright sun rose over the castle, bringing a warm, golden light into the kitchen. Barnaby the baker was the very first to arrive. He dropped his heavy flour sack in pure shock when he saw Elara calmly walking out of the dark hallway, accompanied by the legendary missing prince. Before returning to the royal family, Julian paused at the heavy wooden door. He wanted to give Elara something to remember him by. He gently picked an ordinary red rose from a garden basket and handed it to her. It was completely free of magic, but full of true, heartfelt gratitude.
The morning light is perfect for baking.
Aye, the bread will be
The
golden
wicked
today.
cook Agatha was never seen in the castle again.
Stirring keeps the broth
The
lively.
kitchen quickly became a place of laughter, warmth, and delicious smells. Elara was no longer just the clumsy pot scrubber. She became Barnaby's new head apprentice, happily learning to bake the finest, sweetest breads in the entire kingdom. Months passed, and the castle kitchen became known for the most joyful and delicious pastries in the land. Elara was no longer clumsy. With Barnaby's kind guidance, she learned to shape dough with gentle, confident hands. She even created a special sweetbread shaped exactly like a blooming rose, dedicated to a brave friend. The glowing magical sparks were gone, but the kitchen held a completely different kind of magic now. It was the everyday magic of kindness, courage, and warm bread shared with friends. As the sun set over the peaceful courtyard, Elara rested by the window, knowing her own beautiful story had only just begun.